Do 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 do. Hi. I'm partying because the world might be ending right now. What? I know what you're thinking. So, before I get into the video, as always, do your own research before jumping to conclusions. Don't believe anything you hear from not only me, but especially from the mass media and from governments, and basically from anything that you hear. Don't believe it, always question it, and always research it for yourself. You cannot be smart if you get force-fed information, especially from authority. Bad idea, always. So, don't listen to anybody. Do your research and come to your own conclusions logically, please. Also, a lot of people are going to call me crazy. They're going to call me a conspiracy theorist. I humbly accept your nomination to be the most insane person in the world. But, unfortunately, I'm not as insane as you think I am, or a conspiracy theorist, which was dubbed by the CIA to discredit people that questioned the JFK assassination, which had a million, bajillion, gazillion flaws in everything, basically, about it. But that's a separate video. We're specifically talking about the end of the world, a highly controversial, debated subject that has never been predicted correctly, and I'm not going to attempt to put a date on it. I'm not a prophet. I'm not the Messiah. I don't pretend to be anything I'm not. I'm just an average person living in this world. But I have done a lot of research, and I know my stuff. I'm not stupid. So I'm going to present some information to you. Hopefully it's helpful. If it's not, continue on with your life normally. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but I believe what I'm researching is somewhat true. There's some truth to it. So, here we go. Where to start? Planet X. Research Planet X, people. Oh my. Everyone thinks this is a hoax because some crazy person that claimed to be talking to aliens or something claimed that Planet X was coming to destroy the planet. Years and years and years ago. We're talking like 2 decades ago, excuse me. But we are specifically talking about science here, not this one isolated incident of someone talking about Planet X. There is enough evidence to say that there is a planet, an extra planet in our solar system that is pretty much heading straight for us. The University of Arizona, I believe, has just discovered a massive object coming our way. If that's the case, if it's the size of like an asteroid, it's gonna pretty much wipe out all life anyway. But if it's the size of a planet, you can pretty much kiss everything goodbye. We would die. It would be the apocalypse, if that's the case. Absolutely the apocalypse. And there's so many shady things going on with Planet X, or it's also dubbed as Nibiru, or the 9th planet. Do your own research on it. There is a lot of evidence to prove it exists. A lot of people in high positions in space agencies such as NASA and other ones across the world have subtly mentioned the existence of this planet in our solar system. Of course, NASA's not going to release to you whether or not this thing exists because they're controlled by a government entity that realizes if they did tell you this, the entire world would fall into anarchy and collapse. It would not work for them. All the people in power would lose their power overnight. If anybody told you have 5 years to live, do whatever you want, maybe you won't, but if we told your entire neighborhood this exact same thing, many people in your neighborhood would be killing people, robbing people, rioting, just going absolutely insane. And that's what the government is basically, they're weighing this option. Do we tell them and pretty much collapse the entire economy, all governments? Not a good idea if they can keep this facade going for another 5 years until the planet ends. So, not a good idea on their part if they were to tell you. Now, I'm not saying that Planet X exists or that it is crashing into the planet, but there is a lot of evidence for it. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions. But it might be coming, and if it is, it's the end of the world. So, yeah, also, the Mandela effect, or the quantum effect. Research these, they're the same thing. It's basically where, this is a really interesting thing to research. Please look into it. I'm not lying. It's basically where thousands upon thousands, we're talking hundreds of thousands of people, remember events differently than the rest of the world, but they remember it the exact same. So, not to confuse this, we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of people that have dementia or something and can't understand what's going on in the world. Not to make fun of anybody with dementia, but I'm saying, we're not talking about ill people that have no idea what's going on. They're like senile or anything. No. We're talking about normal, healthy people that remember the exact same memory, but it's false. For example, I'm trying to think of some that are really simple to discuss. Well, it's named after Nelson Mandela. There are plenty of people that remember him dying in the 1990s or the 1980s. I can't remember. Late 1980s, early 1990s, in prison, and him never being president of South Africa, right? And a lot of people were surprised to hear that he had died again. Now, in my reality, I don't remember Nelson Mandela. It was never discussed. I've never heard his name before he died. So if that means anything... Well, no. I take that back. I heard about him... Actually, yeah. No. I don't take that back. I never had heard about him until he died. And I'm a huge history buff. I really have been on top of the game with history. I love history. Never heard of him before. That's very odd to me. Not saying he didn't exist, but I'm just saying it's very odd to me. I don't remember him at all. I just don't remember him. So that's what it's named after. But there's also other things like celebrities, politicians, either being dead for many years and people remember them being alive recently, or them dying, or them being alive recently and people remember them dying years ago, such as Nelson Mandela. There's also logos for companies have changed, and I'm going to do a separate video entirely based on the Mandela effect, but it's just an enigma, completely mind-boggling, when you look into it. Does this signify the end of the world? If literally reality is shifting and changing, that means something. Something big is coming. And I'm not jumping to conclusions that means the world is ending. I'm saying something big is coming, or something big is happening currently, as regards to the Mandela effect, which I very much, every single Mandela effect that has been ever mentioned, I experience. I'm very much affected by the Mandela effect. It very much freaks me out, which, don't be in fear. It's going to scare you when you look into it, but don't be in fear. Just be calm, be collected, be collected, but be collective, or both, whatever. Just, stay with reality, whatever strand of reality that's even left after you dive into this rabbit hole that's completely going to throw your world into chaos. Just stay in love. That's the most important thing. But it may signify the end of the world. I don't know. I'm not jumping to conclusions. I really don't know. But it's freaky. Also, an explanation for the Mandela effect might be a Mandela effect. I'm dead serious. Look at where our planet is in the Milky Way currently. Do you guys remember it being on the edge of the Milky Way like me? I do. Like I just said, I remember it at the edge of the Milky Way, far away from everything. Turns out we are basically in the center of the galaxy, heading for a black hole. This might explain the Mandela effect. And by the way, we've always been that way. Look at history. According to history now, we've always been in the center of the galaxy. Crazy stuff. And astronomers are completely perplexed by this. Many of them have said that the sky has changed. Certain constellations are being shown at different times than they should be in the year, such as, like constellations that you see during the winter are now seen during the summer, and vice versa. Just crazy, crazy stuff. No one can understand this in the astronomy community, and some of them continue to live their life normally, and think that this is completely not odd at all, and they don't have these strange memories that are false. Such as, the constellations being at different points in the year. And by the way, many of these memories are from experts. They are not from just typical, oh yeah, I remember that. No. These were from people that are very, very educated in their fields of work, and they even say that reality is shifting. Things that they remember is not true anymore. And they went to years and years and years of university, college, whatever you want to call it, to get these degrees. And not just the astronomy community, we're talking all forms of science have been affected by this, where people just don't remember this. History teachers have been affected by this. Historical scholars. It's insane across the field. They're smart, everyone's smart, but there's highly educated people that remember these things the way that we do, and a little less educated people like me. I'm a typical Joe. I'm in high school right now. I'm not even out of high school. So this signifies something. I don't know if it means the end of the world. I'm not completely jumping to that conclusion, but it means something big. And that's what both of these events that I've just talked about mean. It means that there is something big going on, and you're not being told about it. And you won't be told about it because the powers that be don't want you to be thrown into chaos. So do your own research. Be educated on everything. Don't fall asleep like the powers that be want you to. Do your own research on everything and jump. Don't ever jump to conclusions, but reach your own conclusions, and always be ready to be challenged and be ready to change your conclusion. Always. We don't know the answers, people, and that's the facts. So stay in love. That's the only thing you need to know, is stay in love, stay happy, don't be fearful. Fear is your worst enemy, because you ultimately are your worst enemy. If you are consumed by fear, you will be a fearful person. You will always be in fear. You will be unhappy with your life. If the world is ending, so be it. We will continue to enjoy the last days of our life then, as we always should. Every day, you should treat it like your last. I love you all. Continue to stay in love. Continue to do research. I don't know if the world's ending, but it's a very interesting topic to dive into. I love you all. Peace.